Your absence was the last breath of a dying heart. If I die, it's because you forgot how to keep me alive. If this touched your soul, don't scroll. Like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. I loved you like oxygen. Without it, I slowly suffocated in your neglect. You were the absence in every heartbeat I wished would hold on. If I die, it's because I whispered for you and heard only echoes. Your silence built walls too high for my cries to climb. I was drowning in your apathy while you smiled like nothing was wrong. If I die, blame the love that burned out in your cold hands. You were the poison disguised as a promise I never wanted to drink. I fell through the cracks of your broken promises and never surfaced. Your eyes stopped seeing me before I stopped existing for you. If I die, it's the weight of your absence that crushed my soul. I was fading quietly while you danced in the light without me. You left me bleeding in a silence that screamed louder than words. If I die, it's because you held the power to save me and chose not to. Your love was a ghost that haunted my heart and stole my breath. I was a broken song you forgot the lyrics to before the lyrics starts. If I die, don't blame the night. Blame the cold you wrapped me in. You were the shadow that swallowed every piece of me that mattered. I held on to you like a lifeline. Then you cut it without a word. Your indifference was the crack in my soul where darkness seeped in. If I die, it's because I trusted you with my last spark of hope. I was fading like a candle left burning in an empty room. You were the silence between my breaths, the void where my love died. If I die, it's because you never learned the language of my broken heart. I was a prisoner of your neglect, locked in a cell made of cold words. Your absence was the blade that slowly carved away my will to live. If I die, it will be your shadow that darkened mine. Final hour. I screamed inside while you chose to look away. You were the last name on my lips before the silence swallowed me whole. If I die, blame the love that suffocated beneath your apathy. I was dying inside while you built your world without me. Your cold gaze froze the warmth I tried to give you. If I die, it's because you never held me when I begged for it most. I was a broken mirror, reflecting the fractures you caused. You were the ghost I chased until I lost myself completely. If I die, blame the silence that drowned out my cries for help. I was lost in shadow, fading with every step you took away. Your neglect was the storm that shattered my fragile hope. If I die, it's because your love was a lie I believed too long. I carried your coldness like a weight that broke my spirit. You were the darkness that consumed the light I once held. If I die, blame the emptiness you planted, where love should have grown. I was a song unsung. Story left unread in your heart. Your silence was a wound that never stopped bleeding. If I die, it's because you never heard the prayers I whispered for us. I was drowning in the spaces you refused to fill. You were the shadow that erased my light from your world. If I die, blame the loneliness that grew in your absence. I was a fading star, dimming in the sky of your neglect. Your coldness was the winter that withered my soul's spring. If I die, it's because you forgot I needed you to stay alive. I was broken beneath the weight of your unspoken goodbye. You were the silence that screamed louder than your words ever did. If I die, blame the love that died quietly in your arms. I was a ghost in your life, seen and unloved until I vanished. Your neglect was the wound I never learned to heal. If I die, it's because I held on to a love that let me go. I was a flame smothered beneath the ash of your indifference. You were the cold breath that stole my warmth and left me empty. If I die, blame the silence that swallowed my desperate pleas. I was fading, a broken echo of the love we once shared. Your absence was the darkness where my hope finally died. If I die, it's because you never chose to fight for me. I was lost in the labyrinth of your neglect, with no way out. You were the shadow that eclipsed the light I tried to be. If I die, blame the love that withered in the cold of your heart. I was drowning in a sea of your forgotten promises. Your silence was a noose tightening around the last breath I held. If I die, it's because you left me alone to face the dark. I was a broken soul trying to mend with your absence as the fracture. You were the last hope that slipped silently through my fingers. If I die, blame the cold distance you wrapped around my heart. I was a fading light in the shadow of your neglect. Your indifference was the poison that seeped into my veins. If I die, it's because I loved you even when you let me go. I was a ghost haunting a love that never truly lived. I whispered your name one last time before the silence swallowed me whole. Your neglect was the thief that stole my will to live. If I die, it's the ghost of your broken promises that haunts me. I was drowning in your silence, gasping for a breath you never gave. You were the shadow that eclipsed every flicker of hope inside me. If I die, blame the emptiness where your love refused to grow. I was a fading light caught in the cold wind of your indifference. Your absence was the noose tightening slowly around my fragile heart. If I die, it's because your love was a door I couldn't open. I was breaking quietly while you chose to turn away. You were the silence that screamed louder than any words ever could. If I die, blame the love that burned out beneath your cold gaze. I was lost inside your shadow, fading with every step you took. Your neglect was the storm that shattered my soul's fragile glass. Love that wasn't meant to save me. I carried your silence like a wound that never healed. You were the darkness where my light came to die. If I die, blame the cold space you left in my chest. I was a ghost in your life, unseen and unloved, until I vanished. Your absence was the final breath of a love I once held dear. If I die, it's because I waited for you until I had nothing left. I was a candle snuffed out by your careless hands. You were the shadow that swallowed every spark of hope I had. If I die, blame the silence that drowned my desperate cries for help. I was a broken soul, fading in the ruins of your forgotten love. Your coldness was the ice that froze my heart in endless winter. If I die, it's because I loved you more than you loved me back. I was fading quietly, a story left unread in your book of life. You were the absence where my heart once found its home. If I die, blame the neglect that slowly bled out my soul. I was a whisper lost in the storm of your indifference. Your silence was a wound that never stopped bleeding inside me. If I die, it's because you never held me when I begged for it most. I was breaking beneath the weight of your unspoken goodbye. You were the ghost I chased until I lost myself completely. If I die, blame the love that died quietly in your arms. I was a fading star extinguished by the cold winds of your apathy. Your absence was the darkness where my hope finally died. If I die, it's because you never chose to fight for me. I was lost in the labyrinth of your neglect, with no way out. You were the shadow that eclipsed the light I tried to be. If I die, blame the love that withered in the cold of your heart. I was drowning in a sea of your forgotten promises. Your silence was a noose tightening around the last breath I held. If I die, it's because you left me alone to face the dark. I was a broken soul trying to mend with your absence as the fracture. You were the last hope that slipped silently through my fingers. If I die, blame the cold distance you wrapped around my heart. I was a fading light in the shadow of your neglect. Your indifference was the poison that seeped into my veins. If I die, it's because I loved you even when you let me go. I was a ghost haunting a love that never truly lived. You were the silence that shattered every word I ever spoke. If I die, blame the weight of your absence on my broken wings. I was falling apart while you built walls around your heart. Your coldness was the grave where my dreams came to rest. If I die, it's because I gave you my all, and it wasn't enough. I was a whisper lost in the storm of your neglect. You were the darkness where my light went to die. If I die, blame the emptiness you made my world become. I was a fragile soul crushed beneath the weight of your silence. Your absence was the final breath of a love I couldn't save. If I die, it's because I waited for you until I couldn't anymore. I was a fading star extinguished by the cold winds of your apathy. You were the silence that swallowed every heartbeat I gave you. If I die, blame the love that slowly bled out in your hands. I was breaking inside while you pretended everything was fine. Your neglect was a wound that never stopped bleeding inside me. If I die, it's because your love was a lie I couldn't live with. I was the candle snuffed out by your careless hands. You were the shadow that hid the light I tried to keep alive. If I die, blame the silence that drowned my desperate cries for you. I was a ghost trapped in the ruins of what we once were. Your coldness was the ice that froze my heart in place. If I die, it's because I loved you more than you loved me. I was fading quietly, a forgotten story in your book of life. You were the absence where my heart once found its home. If I die, blame the neglect that slowly bled out my soul. I was a whisper lost in a storm of your indifference. Your silence was a wound that never stopped bleeding inside me. My dear, if I die, it will be because you forgot I was still breathing inside your silence. Your absence carved a grave where my heartbeat once lived. If I die, you buried me alive. I whispered for help, but you listened with deaf ears. Now the darkness is your legacy. If I die, it won't be fate. It will be the weight of every unspoken apology. You held the knife softly, but the wound bled deeper than you ever imagined. I died 1,000 times in your eyes before my body finally gave up the ghost. The shadows you cast swallowed my light. If I die, blame the darkness you invited. Your neglect was a slow poison. If I die, you administered every drop. I begged for a spark, but you smothered me with cold indifference. If I die, it's because you never learned the language of my silent screams. The loneliness I drowned in was your doing. Don't pretend the water was mine to drink. If death finds me, it will be your shadow chasing mine into the abyss. You were the last person I trusted to save me. Now I am lost because of you. I folded myself into pieces to please you. If I die, it's because I shattered inside. Your eyes told me lies that killed more than any bullet ever could. If I die, it will be the echo of every promise you forgot to keep. You are the silence after my scream, the cold where my warmth used to live. If death is near, it carries your fingerprints on its cold breath. I am the ghost you never acknowledged. If I die, it is your silence that haunts me. You let me drown in your apathy. If I die, your hands pushed me under. If I die, don't blame the night. I was suffocating in your day. The space between us was a canyon. If I fall, it's your echo I'll hear last. You held my heart like a fragile thing, then crushed it quietly. If I die, it's your crime. My breath was stolen by your neglect. If I die, blame the thief you became. The last time I smiled was before you forgot me entirely. If I die, it won't be a secret. Your betrayal screamed louder than my pain. You were the storm, and I was the tree. If I die, it's because you broke me. I carried the weight of your indifference until my soul finally cracked. If I die, remember it was your absence that killed what was alive inside me. You left me bleeding without a bandage. If I die, the wound was your gift. I was a light in your darkness. If I die, it's because you snuffed me out. Your cold heart froze my warmth until I was just an empty shell. If I die, the blame belongs to the love you forgot how to give. You were the silence that screamed louder than my cries. If I die, it's because I held your ghost tighter than my own life. I fell apart where you refused to catch me. You were the last name I whispered in my final breath. If I die, it's the echo of your neglect that will linger. You were the wound that never healed. I became the scar. If death finds me, it's hiding in your forgotten promises. I screamed without sound while you turned away. Your shadow suffocated my light until it vanished. If I die, the blame lies in the spaces you left empty. You watched me fall silently. If I die, it's your eyes that killed me. I was drowning. You handed me the stone. Your absence was a noose tightening around my neck. If I die, it's because your love was never enough to keep me alive. I was the flame you let die in the cold. You are the silence where my prayers went unanswered. If I die, don't mourn me. Blame the emptiness you made home. You broke me softly, like a whispered lie. If I die, it's the weight of your indifference that crushed me. I waited for you to save me. Now I'm lost because you never came. Your silence was louder than any goodbye. If I die, it's the last breath of a love starved to death. I was fading while you looked away. Your neglect carved the path where I finally fell. If I die, it's because you forgot how to hold me alive. I loved you with wounds that never healed. Your coldness was the grave where I buried myself. If I die, it's because I was invisible to the only eyes that mattered. I lived for your touch. When it left, I died inside. Your betrayal was a silent killer I never saw coming. If I die, blame the love that slowly killed me. I was breaking while you built walls between us. Your absence was a storm I never learned to survive. If I die, it's because I lost myself trying to be your everything. I was fading like a dying star, unnoticed and unloved. Your indifference was the blade that sliced through my soul. If I die, it's because I carried your silence as a wound. I was drowning in your neglect, gasping for air that never came. Your love was a whisper that died before reaching me. If I die, it's the echo of a love too broken to save. I was a ghost in your world, unseen, unheard, unloved. Your silence spoke the words you never said. Don't cry for me. Cry for the love you never gave. I was lost inside your cold gaze, a prisoner of your apathy.